Welcome back to the fourth episode of the marvelous adventures of Golden Potato. Last episode was entirely dedicated to the disconnection of the radiator pipes and the radiator, from removing a few radiator transmission oil lines to the rubber hoses for water and coolant to the bolts attaching the radiator to the chassis and ultimately the entire radiator. In this episode, other parts surrounding the engine, like what remains of the plastic that was covering the back of the radiator, the trapezoidal belt, the alternator, and other parts. If you are intrigued, stay with me. The only way to remove this thick piece of plastic is by rotating it on itself and extracting it from the top. This gives me more reasons to believe that the plastic cover has been previously cracked and damaged sometimes in the past as a shortcut to work on the engine with more space. Let's remove the trapezoidal belt. In order to do that, I had to unplug the connector of the supply air pump first, then release the bolt that would not come off if the connector wasn't removed first. Then I'm going to try to see if that is sufficient to release the air supply pump and I remove the belt. With a screwdriver, I start with the plastic connector. Now, with a 13mm ratchet wrench, I can proceed with the first bolt. The air pump doesn't seem to move yet, so I removed the second bolt. Still not moving, so I start removing the third bolt. And the short bolt is out. I apply some leverage and I can see the air pump is finally moving, but not quite enough. I need to remove the fourth bolt, which is out now. The belt is released enough to be removed with a screwdriver. Not my favorite way to remove a belt, but it is what it is. And the belt is removed. Here are the three pulleys the belt was connected to: the water pump, the engine shaft and the air supply pump. Under the vehicle I start to deal with the alternator, and more specifically with the very greasy and disgusting wires. After cutting the fasteners, I start to remove the very sticky plastic tape, but I have the feeling that I will end up cutting the wires directly. This part of the wiring system will need to be redone properly later on. These messy wires definitely need to be redone. The thick red cables are the ones we released a couple episodes ago from the multi-battery isolator. We had few days of rain here, which gave me the chance to 3D print a mini tripod that will help me to keep the camera in certain positions when I try to record while I'm working under the vehicle. I will pull the red cables from the top. Next, I'm going to detach the ground cable attached to the engine block. Pushing the greasy cables out of my way, I'm going to disconnect the connector from the alternator. With a 14mm wrench, I remove the tensioner mounting bolt. The alternator now is swinging free. The belt is removed and now I can remove the alternator, But first, I want to invite you to my other video channel, Meaningful Shenanigans, where you can see me putting together a planter box, building a fire pit, or installing a patio. For all of you who are interested, see you there. I'll put the link in the description. Back to our golden potato. It's time to remove the alternator that charged the batteries for almost 40 years. Next, I'd like to make more space, so first I will remove this frame, which is only attached by one 14mm bolt. Now I'm going to remove this big and heavy piece of cast iron by removing two 14mm bolts. This frame used to hold a vacuum pump that was part of the thermoactor, a system that was used in the 80s to artificially lower the value of a vehicle gas emissions. In the future, I will dedicate a video specifically to the use of the thermoactors in all vehicles. If this part wasn't holding the sliding frame for the alternator, I would not even install it anymore. And this is all for the 4th episode of the marvelous adventures of the golden potato. If you find my videos interesting or entertaining, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel. For now, thanks for watching and see you soon.